Egyptians of the Old Kingdom are known for the impressive pyramids that they built, creating a permanently recognizable mark that is looked to represent an entire civilization. While these structures are not solely unique to Egypt, the kings of the 1st through 6th dynasty truly revolutionized the form of the pyramid as well as the strategies used to build them. That being said, one must understand their purpose, as well as the significant breakthroughs that allowed Egyptians to construct these beautiful and complex structures and continue to influence our world today. For thousands of years in the pre-dynastic period, the dead were buried in shallow oval pits, sometimes surrounded by their personal belongings and covered with sand. In the beginning of the dynastic period, the kings of Egypt began constructing mud brick superstructures over their burial pits, which is known today as a mastaba. The introduction of mastabas in the First Dynasty served as a missing link between the unrefined burial practices of the pre-dynastic period and those of an emerging and thriving Egyptian state. Apart from the brick superstructure, which housed cells for storage of funerary goods, the tomb is simply an enlarged version of the later pre-dynastic burial pits. While mastaba tombs continued to be built by Egyptian nobles and officials long into Egyptian history, Egyptian kings ceased to construct them after the reign of Djoser in the Third Dynasty. With the birth of the Third Dynasty, Egypt entered into a period previously unmatched in national achievement known as the Old Kingdom. Rather than using mud brick materials as First and Second Dynasty kings used, Third Dynasty rulers began utilizing stone in private monuments on a much grander scale. Imhotep, the vizier of King Djoser, is credited as being the true innovator of the art of building in stone. Imhotep chose Saqqara as a site for Djoser's pyramid. The pyramid is thought to have originally been planned as a mastaba which underwent 6 different stages in planning that would itself lead to a transition from mastaba to pyramid. The second and third stages resulted in extensions on all sides, while also forming a step mastaba. Stage 4 resulted in a base step for the structure as well as the construction of a mortuary temple on the north face of the pyramid. After abandoning the 5th stage plans, the 6th stage saw the addition of stone materials to each side of the pyramid, which resulted in a completed 6-stepped pyramid with a height of 60 meters. The vast substructure of Djoser's step pyramid, filled with numerous corridors and chambers, is unique in Old Kingdom Egypt. In tracing the evolution of the pyramid form, it is important to note that the substructure of Djoser's step pyramid, namely the vertical shaft and ramp, still retain elements which resemble earlier private mastabas. With that said, features similar to later pyramids give us a glimpse into the transition the step pyramid represents between mastabas and the pyramids of Dynasty 4. One example of such feature that archaeologists have noted is that Djoser's tomb chamber is built entirely from pink Aswan granite, a material that was later extensively utilized in pyramid burial chambers. With the exception of the mortuary temple found on the north side of the pyramid, the rest of the pyramid complex is unique to the Old Kingdom. In fact, even the mortuary temple is somewhat unique in that it is found on the northern face, whereas with later pyramids, the mortuary temple is always found on the eastern face. The alignment of the mortuary temple on the eastern face of later pyramids was likely due to the growing influence of the cult of Ra, the sun god at Heliopolis. The fact that Imhotep was a high priest of Ra at Heliopolis and Djoser was the first ruler to build a shrine there, potentially represented the growing association between the king and Ra. This association later came to pass with the developments in the layout of the pyramid complex, as well as references to religious funerary functions related to sun worship for the pyramids. Moving into the 4th dynasty, Snefru proved to make significant innovations with the pyramid that he built at Medum. The pyramid at Medum sits in transition from the step pyramids of the 3rd dynasty and the true pyramids of the 4th, 5th, and 6th dynasties. Like the step pyramid of Djoser, the pyramid of Medum was built in stages. Despite halting construction for quite some time, Snefru ordered the final stage of the pyramid's development nearly 4 decades into his reign. This stage also concentrated on features that further contributed to the developing pyramid form. The construction techniques utilized in the first 2 stages originally paralleled those used in the older step pyramids. The accretion layers in the older pyramids laid on an inward slope providing better support for the structure. However, the 3rd stage here was comprised of blocks laid horizontally, which gave the pyramid a nearly identical slope to that of Khufu's at Giza, and thus the first true pyramid in Egyptian history was formed. Similar to Djoser's pyramid, the entrance to the pyramid of Medum is located on the northern face. Instead of using thick granite to roof the burial chamber, as Djoser did before him, evidence suggests that Snefru experimented and made use of a technique known as corbelling for the first time. Corbelling distributes the weight of the core blocks above it and provides better structural stability for the chamber. Archaeologist Sir Flinders Petrie uncovered the mortuary temple on the east side of Snefru's pyramid. This was the first time that the mortuary temple on the eastern side of the pyramid would hereafter become a regular feature within nearly all pyramid complexes. No blueprint for a true pyramid had yet been established when Snefru moved his palace from Medum to Dashur. However, the bent pyramid was the first to have been planned as the true pyramid from the outset. Originally, the pyramid's architects planned to have a true pyramid with an angle of 60 degrees. However, the angle was reduced twice, the second time at 45 meters in height, giving it its fitting name. No other pyramid in Egypt retained as many of its casing stones as does the bent pyramid, which is probably due in part to the traditional method of laying courses inclining inwards below the change in angle. After the alteration in the angle of the pyramid was made, the courses of rock were laid in the horizontal manner seen in use with later pyramids, including that of Khufu's at Giza. In this respect, the bent pyramid sits in perfect transition from the building practices utilized in the 3rd dynasty with those of the Great Pyramids at Giza built later in the 4th dynasty. Here and once again with the Great Pyramid at Giza, spaces in the stones were often filled with limestone and other debris. This served the dual purpose of speeding construction and providing the pyramid with some flexibility, should the site be struck by an earthquake. Around year 30 of Sneferu's reign, construction began of the bent pyramid's cold pyramid on the south axis. Once thought to belong to Queen Hetepheres, King Khufu's mother, in terms of evolution and development, the cold pyramid serves as a significant transitional monument between earlier pyramids and the pyramid of Khufu. It is within this small pyramid that the majority of Egyptologists believe the precursor to the core-built Grand Gallery of Khufu's pyramid is found. While Sneferu's beautiful valley temple at the Bent Pyramid is well investigated, in the contextual study of pyramid development, the most important aspect of this temple is that it is the first known temple of the sort. From this point on, a valley temple would be included in other pyramid complexes and serve a critical role in the mortuary practices of the king and his cult. The Red Pyramid of Sneferu at Dashur provides not much in terms of transitional architectural developments utilized by later kings in their pyramids. However, it is significant to note that the east-west alignment of this pyramid's burial chamber removes itself from the traditional north-south alignment seen in Sneferu's 2 earlier pyramids, and those built by 3rd dynasty kings. Once again, like those at Meidum and the Bent Pyramid, the Red Pyramid also retains the core belling feature in its burial chamber. While much is made of Khufu's accomplishments at Giza, never in Egyptian history has one king accumulated the resources of the country and applied them to such vast and numerous building projects. Sneferu truly was the king of the pyramid builders, but his son Khufu would construct for himself a pyramid which would never be matched in complexity as well as sheer volume. The Great Pyramid of Khufu is the largest pyramid ever built in Egypt, with an original height of 146.5 meters. Khufu's pyramid complex also represents a transition from those built by Sneferu and those built by Khufu's successors. Like Sneferu's Red Pyramid, the Pyramid of Khufu rests on a great foundation of limestone blocks. The core of the pyramid sits on a natural mound which had the effect of reducing the number of stones required for construction of the pyramid. Here, the courses were laid horizontally. However, like Sneferu's earlier pyramid at Meidum, the gaps between the blocks were filled with quarried debris and sand to resist earthquake. Marking a stark decline from the 4th dynasty, the pyramids in the 5th dynasty were smaller and also of lower quality than their predecessors. However, the inscriptions within the walls of the pyramids, such as that of the Roi Sohor and Abu Sir, are of higher quality and provide more information to archaeologists than earlier versions, including the Great Pyramid, which were not decorated. Similar to Dynasty 5, there were no significant improvements to Dynasty 6 pyramids. The last to be built in the traditions of the Old Kingdom was Pepi II's pyramid in Saqqara. Pyramid texts were inscribed on the walls and corridors in the traditions of previous pyramids. However, the pharaoh's mortuary complex was built and decorated in a relatively poorer manner than those of his predecessors. As this examination has detailed, the pyramid structure reaches heights in the 4th dynasty as the improving designs over the first 3 dynasties culminated in the great structures that have lasted until today. Although pyramid structures declined in terms of their propensity to be constructed after the 6th dynasty, they continue to define and represent an integral part of Egyptian archaeological history. Furthermore, the impact of this Egyptian architecture has continued to be an influence among other cultures and structures over the years, with pyramids being built in civilizations such as the Mayans and the Aztecs, as well as pyramids continuing to be built today, such as that at Long Beach State University.